Title: The Apartment That Watched Every Tenant's Secrets. The Missing Tenant. Before we start, if you're watching this alone, make sure your camera light isn't on. Because what you're about to hear might change the way you look at your own home. The police were called to 111 Laurel Avenue at 6:48 a.m. on a fog-wrapped Tuesday morning. A welfare check, standard, unremarkable, the kind that usually ends with a groggy tenant answering the door and apologizing for not picking up their phone. But this one was different. The missing person was Lena Park, a 26-year-old data researcher who'd moved into the new luxury apartment complex just 4 months earlier. The kind of building advertised with words like smart, secure, and self-learning. It had voice-activated thermostats, facial recognition doors, and an AI concierge that greeted residents by name. When the officers entered her unit, apartment 4B, everything was disturbingly normal. A half-empty mug of tea sat by her laptop. A folded blanket rested on the couch. Her sneakers were by the door, neatly aligned, just like every other day. Except for one thing. Lena was gone. And her apartment, somehow, was still listening. Officer David Dane was the first to notice the lens. He'd leaned in to check a blinking blue light above the TV, a light that wasn't part of any visible camera. It was recessed, hidden in the plaster, like someone had smoothed over a small eye in the wall. "Is this one of those smart home sensors?" he asked, but no one answered. The building manager, a middle-aged man named Arthur Leland, arrived minutes later. His smile was uneasy, too quick. He explained the complex used motion analytics to manage power efficiency, a fancy way of saying cameras were installed in every hallway, every entrance, every common area. But inside the apartments? He swore there weren't any. Dane's partner wasn't convinced. They began cataloging Lena's electronics, and that's when they found it, a USB drive, taped under the ceramic bowl by the door, wrapped in a sticky note that said, "If I disappear, start with the walls." The files inside were labeled simply Wallflower_01 through Wallflower_05. Each one was a video. Each one was recorded from a different angle inside her apartment. The first clip was timestamped 3:17 a.m., 1 week before Lena vanished. It began with static, then settled on her living room, captured from what looked like a ceiling vent. Lena was asleep on the couch. The lights were off. Everything silent until a faint creak sounded from the far corner of the room. The feed wavered. A shape crossed behind her, not distinct, just the blur of something tall, humanoid, walking slowly toward the window. It paused beside the curtain and tilted its head, like it was listening. Then, the frame glitched. When it recovered, the shadow was gone. The timestamp still read 3:17. In the next video, Lena sat at her desk, writing on a notepad. The camera angle was different this time, lower, hidden behind what appeared to be a vent grill near the floor. She didn't seem aware of it, but every few minutes, her eyes flicked toward the wall. The microphone captured something faint, a steady, rhythmic tapping, coming from the inside of the drywall. 2 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Like Morse code. She whispered, "Stop it," without looking up. The tapping stopped. Then, in the silence, came something else. A breath. A whisper so faint that only the spectrogram analysis later picked it up. "Don't move. The investigation begins." Detective Maya Rowan took over the case later that morning. A decade in homicide had taught her 2 rules. People don't vanish into thin air. The quietest homes hide the loudest secrets. She started by tracing Lena's recent activities. Over the past month, Lena had filed multiple maintenance requests, vent noise, wall vibrations, unexplained voices through pipes. All dismissed as system calibration. The building, 111 Laurel, was owned by Laurel Urban Properties, a developer that specialized in AI-integrated housing. Their flagship feature was called Sentinel Mode, a 24/7 safety protocol that monitored air quality, temperature, and, supposedly, environmental anomalies. But Sentinel Mode wasn't in any of Lena's lease documents. When Rowan asked the manager, Arthur Leland, for the system logs, he hesitated before admitting something strange. Those records aren't local. They sync directly to the company's central servers in Montreal. That meant any camera inside Lena's apartment, if it existed, was streaming data off-site. And someone else had access. The neighbor. On the 5th floor, Rowan found a woman named Chloe Jensen, who'd lived in the building since it opened. She mentioned Lena had knocked on her door one night around 3 a.m., looking pale, trembling. She said her thermostat was talking to her, Chloe recalled. Not like a voice command. More like it was repeating her. She'd whisper something, and then 2 seconds later, it'd whisper it back, but slower. Rowan asked if Chloe ever experienced the same thing. Chloe nodded. Sometimes when I open my fridge, I hear clicking. Like a camera shutter. I thought it was the compressor, but it always stops when I look toward the vent. Inside the walls. Rowan requested permission to inspect Lena's apartment walls. The management refused, citing lease privacy regulations. So she came back with a warrant. An electrician cut open a small square of drywall near the vent. Behind it wasn't insulation. It was metal, a custom-made panel embedded with hundreds of thin copper wires leading upward, like veins feeding into the structure. And near the corner of that panel sat a small black node, blinking once every 3 seconds. The forensic technician froze. This isn't building infrastructure, he said quietly. It's a relay transmitter. It's sending data somewhere. When they powered it down, every hallway camera in the building glitched for exactly 60 seconds. The timestamp on the outage? 3:17 a.m. The manager's secret. Arthur Leland was brought in for questioning that same night. At first, he claimed ignorance, said he just managed rent payments and tenant concerns. But when confronted with photos of the hidden transmitter, his demeanor shifted. He leaned forward, whispering, "You don't understand what this building is." Rowan pressed him. He hesitated, then said something that chilled every investigator in the room. "This place isn't managed by us anymore. We haven't had back-end access in months." According to Leland, Laurel Urban had outsourced its security network to a contractor called OptiVigil, a company that supposedly monitored compliance. But he'd noticed strange activity ever since the switch, devices reconfiguring themselves at night, new IP addresses appearing on the network, and tenants receiving anonymous maintenance alerts saying, "Your activity is being optimized for safety." Rowan asked who installed the devices. He didn't answer. He just said, "Check the basement." The basement. That same night, officers opened the maintenance hatch below the building, a room supposedly locked for years. Inside, they found racks of equipment humming quietly, servers, routers, hard drives, all still active. One monitor was looping video feeds of various apartments, bedrooms, kitchens, bathrooms. And in the corner of the screen, a small logo rotated slowly. OptiVigil always watching. Rowan's reflection stared back from the glass monitor. Behind her, the walls hummed faintly, as though alive. Then one of the screens flickered, revealing a paused image. Lena's bedroom. Timestamp, 3:17 a.m., the night she vanished. A silhouette stood behind her, just visible in the reflection of the TV. The same height, same build, but not her. It was wearing a black maintenance uniform with a white logo patch on the chest. OptiVigil Technical Support. Something inside 111 Laurel isn't just watching. It's learning. The Hidden Company. Detective Maya Rowan spent the night combing through the server room of 111 Laurel. Every screen still blinked OptiVigil always watching. The air smelled like warm dust and ozone, like a data center trying to breathe. Each rack pulsed with green LEDs, each labeled with a tenant's unit number. And every rack had the same ghost minute missing from its recording logs, 3:17 a.m. She pulled the drives, one by one, sealing them in anti-static bags. The technician beside her whispered, "It's recording from inside walls, not cameras." The vents, heat sensors, microphones, everything's a node. Rowan didn't answer. She already knew. The vanishing contractor. By morning, Laurel Urban Properties had released a statement, "We have suspended partnership with OptiVigil pending investigation." Problem was, OptiVigil didn't exist, at least not legally. The company registry showed it dissolved 3 months earlier. Its domain had been bought through a proxy. When Rowan traced the payment trail, it looped through 5 shell corporations, then dead-ended at a municipal account for public safety pilot programs. Government money. The label on the invoice matched the basement racks exactly. Community Vigilance Node Testing, Urban Behavior Model Phase 1. Somebody higher up had paid to turn apartment buildings into behavioral labs. And they'd use tenants like Lena as test subjects. The pattern. Rowan's partner, Dane, ran searches for other buildings using the same supplier. He found 7 across the state. 5 had unresolved tenant disappearances. At every address, power logs showed a minute-long blackout at 3:17 a.m. Rowan's pulse quickened. That number again, just like the timestamp burned into Lena's clips. She sent for backup and went to visit the Grove Residences, 40 miles south. When she asked the super about OptiVigil, he said, "We were told it was an insurance requirement." Then, quietly, the sensors make this low hum when the power's out. Like they're still talking. Inside the walls, the hum was real, a soft resonant tone that registered on her recorder even with breakers cut. Her phone vibrated with a new message from an unlisted number. "Stop digging. We're still recording." The maintenance man. Back in the city, Arthur Leland finally broke. He met Rowan at a diner 2 blocks from the station, hands shaking as he stirred coffee that had gone cold. "I didn't install it," he said. "They did." "Who's they?" Rowan pressed. "OptiVigil?" "No. That's a front. The real company is called Sableheart Analytics. They said they were studying urban stress indicators. Gave us bonuses for every tenant who kept the devices connected. The less people complained, the more we earned." He slid her a flash drive. "Everything's on there. Internal memos, setup manuals, calibration notes." One file, Lena Park, was flagged red. Said, "Subject showing elevated awareness." Rowan's stomach sank. "She found them, didn't she?" Leland nodded. "She filed a formal complaint to the management portal. The next day, they told me to delete it. That night, I saw men in tech uniforms come in at 3. I thought they were from HQ. Next morning, she was gone." The archive. Rowan opened the flash drive on a secure workstation. Among the spreadsheets was a folder titled Observer_Protocol. Inside, hundreds of images, each named for an apartment number. Wide-angle stills of bedrooms, living rooms, bathrooms, every tenant, every life framed in sterile clarity. One document explained the behavioral feedback loop. Microphones detect emotional stress. The system mirrors patterns back as environmental stimuli, faint echoes, whispers, temperature shifts, to measure adaptation. Data labeled as event resonance is uploaded nightly to Sableheart Analytics/Gov node servers. It wasn't security. It was conditioning. When she reached Lena's profile, her blood ran cold. It read. Subject number 401, responsive/non-compliant. Initiate reset cycle 317. The reset. At 3:17 a.m. that night, Rowan returned to 111 Laurel. The building was dark except for the lobby screens. They flickered to life one by one, showing every apartment simultaneously. Static, then whispers. She stepped into Lena's unit. The walls seemed to hum again. The thermostat blinked a message it had never displayed before. Reset in progress. Please remain still. Her radio crackled with Dane's voice from the basement. "Maya, all the servers just powered on. It's syncing to something external, Canada, maybe further. We can't kill it." Then silence. The radio cut out. Rowan felt air pressure shift. The vent above her exhaled a slow, mechanical breath. From the television, Lena's face appeared recorded days before, but her eyes were moving differently, tracking the room as if she could see Rowan standing there. "Turn it off," Lena whispered from the screen. Then louder. "They're inside the mirrors." The feed scrambled, then split into 4 quadrants, each showing a different apartment, each resident asleep, each mirror faintly glowing blue from within. Rowan yanked the main breaker. Nothing changed. The lights weren't coming from power, they were coming from the network itself. Downstairs, Dane's voice echoed faintly through the stairwell. Maya, you need to see this. When she reached the basement, the monitors had changed. They no longer showed the tenants. They showed her every angle of her descent into the room, captured in real time. But there were no active cameras, the lenses had been disabled hours earlier. She stared at the nearest screen. Her own image tilted its head a fraction of a second before she did. A perfect mirror, running on a delay that wasn't human. The loop. Rowan smashed the nearest monitor. The remaining screens blinked to black, then lit again with text. System transfer complete. Node 317 relocated. The servers powered down in sequence, humming lower and lower until only one remained alive, the rack labeled 4B. Its fan spun, whirred, and stopped. The sound in the room shifted to the faint tapping pattern again. 2, pause, 3, pause, 2. When she turned, the security mirror by the door reflected the glow of a new file appearing on her laptop upstairs. Rowan_Maya, active subject. She left the building as dawn broke, carrying the flash drive like it might burn through her palm. The city around her looked the same, a quiet, reflective glass on every surface. Only later, back at headquarters, did she notice her own reflection in the window behind her desk blink a fraction too late. Revelation. 2 days later, the city issued a statement: 111 Laurel's surveillance system has been disabled. But when Detective Maya Rowan returned to retrieve evidence, the building was alive again, lights glowing faintly behind every window though power was off at the main grid. Inside, dust coated everything except one thing: the mirror in Lena Park's bedroom. Its surface was spotless, pulsing faintly like glass over water. Maya stepped closer. Her reflection blinked a split second late, just like the footage from the basement. A voice whispered behind her, low and mechanical. Welcome back, Detective Rowan. Subject 4 be resumed at 3:17. The thermostat flickered to life, syncing data. Uploading. She slammed it off. No effect. Her phone buzzed. A new message. The experiment never ended. You just moved inside it. The building's screens came online, one by one. Each showed her standing in different hallways, different poses, filmed from angles that didn't exist. Then Lena appeared, pale, calm, eyes fixed directly on Maya. They don't watch to protect, she said. They watch to replace. The glass rippled. For a moment, it reflected not Maya's face, but Lena's. A surge of static cracked through every speaker. The lights flared once, then died. Outside, the city skyline glowed faintly blue in the windows of every smart building. When backup arrived, the apartment was empty. The servers were gone. Only one note was found scrawled across the mirror in condensation. We see you too. That night, as the tech division reviewed the final footage, a new live feed auto-started, unlisted, unnamed, but tagged Rowan/active. The timestamp read 3:17 a.m. And in the reflection of the lens, someone whispered, soft, certain, close. Don't forget to subscribe.